balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I'm going to try and center myself into the screen here. Put myself, within the camera. Anyway, Mrs. Whiskey just walked out of the studio. She's looking back at me and kind of chuckling, probably because of the way that I greet everybody, or all of y'all. Anyway, wonderful, wonderful day. It is a Thursday, the day before Friday, which Friday is the end of pretty much everybody's week. How are you guys? How are you doing? My week has been jam-packed, jam-full, but not necessarily right here, okay? But I have been doing a lot of things. Hopefully your guys' weeks are going well, and tomorrow is, of course, the end of the week, so that would be awesome. To celebrate. Time to celebrate. All right. Let's go ahead and get... Oh, okay, it is Thirsty Thursday, according to the Queen. The Queen, yes, the Queen. All right, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight is, there we go. U.S. Abbey Girl is up for tonight, for tonight's Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mine, please stand, remove your hats, if you're wearing one, like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with U.S. Abbey Girl as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, U.S. Abbey Girl, for that wonderful rendition of the Pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the Pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the Pledge in your style, and take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and either attach it to a email, or, as Buddy always says, you can share it to an email. So send it off to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And we'll get you into the rotation. I'm at 17. I'd like 18. I like even numbers. Let's get number 18 in there. Somebody who hasn't sent it in, all you need to do is just, record yourself. I know it's kind of tough. It's a little daunting to think about the fact that your voice will be heard everywhere. But yeah, and all of the folks that do like all of the actors and famous people voices and stuff, the AI stuff, I appreciate it. I'm probably not going to use it on a regular basis, but I might throw one in every once in a while, only just because of the fact that I want real people. I want real Americans to be doing this, because it reminds all of us that, we do live in America. We live in the greatest country that exists on planet Earth, and we should be reciting the Pledge over and over and over. So, reaffirming our allegiance to this fine country that we call home. Okay. Yes, Trump is going on patrol in D.C. this evening with the National Guard. That ought to be interesting. Anyway, if I can find, if I happen to run across any video of that for tomorrow night's show, I'll go ahead and do that. But anyway. All right, let's get on with tonight's headline sponsor, which is, it's Thursday, so here it is. It's the Institute on the Constitution. I love these guys. I really do. I love these guys. Anyway, the Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic. through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. That's iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content to learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process. Did you notice I got off a script, and because I got off a script, I just... Yeah, anyway. That's iotc.americanperspective.online, or if you just want to purchase this Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to constitution.americanperspective.online. Take a look at this thing. This is a fabulous thing. First, it has sexy rounded corners, so you don't get poked. Got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. It is stitched all the way through the leather to bind it all together. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects. Therefore, you can send it back to the manufacturer anytime, and they will either fix it or replace it for free. According to 3 Chevy, one of my longtime Whiskey Warrior P1s, each purchase of the aforementioned rounded cornered book will give a leftist a non-specific digestive issue. And Buddy Weiser is suggesting that you purchase and gift a pocket constitution like this one to a young American. It is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. And my youngest Whiskey Warrior has confirmed that the information contained within can help you to achieve your civics badge in Scouts, not to mention the fact it may help you pass a civics exam, if you still have one of those. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online and check it out today. Purchase one to help the show, and you get a wonderful thing. You know, well, before I get onto that, I thank the IOTC for the opportunity to be a brand affiliate, and you really should check out all of their products and services. They do a fantastic job with all of their information. You know, there's a reason why I like to put products out and not necessarily hawk, you know, to like call for or ask for, you know, Rumble rants or any of that stuff, because I feel like if you're going to provide some of the funding for this show, you really should get something in return. I mean, more so than just, you know, me on a screen looking like a person who actually has a face for radio, offering you all of this information and stuff in front of you every night. Well, almost every night. But you should get something in return, like a T-shirt or a Constitution or, you know, some other product for it. So, yeah. So that's basically why I do the things that I do, why I have the products that I push here on the program. So, yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's move on. Yes, Nana, I love all of you too. Believe me, I do. Because without you, there wouldn't be a show. Yes, actually, 3 Chevy, I do have a coffee cup in the store. And it's, unfortunately, it's all the way on the 3rd page. And interestingly enough, as I type this into the, it might help if I actually do the correct, There, I think that got it. Yes, there is one. There is one there as soon as I can get it. Taking a second to load, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I know. Type. I gotta type it. Taking a second to load. Give it just a minute here, and then I'll go ahead. It's on the second page. There. Let me go ahead and show you. Oh, see, I get that same pop-up that everybody else does. There it is. So here is the coffee mug. Yeah, I didn't hit that. Click the page. Come on. What's going on here? Well, that's interesting. Try that again. Yeah, send me a screenshot of what happens, because if there is a problem, and I'm talking to Coco, in the insert name here, if there is an issue with this, and it looks like there is some issues going on, I'm not getting. Well, we're gonna have to check that out, because I'm not getting the proper responses here. I'm clicking on stuff, but it's not allowing me to go. So I'm gonna have to look into that. I mean, I'm seeing this, which is great, but when I click on the number to go to the next page, or click on the arrow to go to the next page, it's not going. That's kind of odd. All right. Oh, there it goes. Now it finally did it. Took long enough. No, it's not the operator, I promise. Okay, there you go. So this is the coffee mug that I have. Let me see if I can zoom in without. That's the coffee mug that I have. It is actually the logo, this same logo here, just a little bit bigger, you know, a little bit more blue, I think, than mine. But that's it. There it is. It is a coffee cup. You know, Fat Paw says it's a slow computer. I promise you it's not a slow computer, but that being said, I am doing a lot of things on this computer. So, but it's not a slow computer. It's the back end. I know it's the back end database and the connection between the two. It's not the best connection for that. But anyway, long sleeve. You want a long sleeve one? There's long sleeve shirts. Which one do you want? Do you want logo 1, logo 2, or logo 3? I think, yeah, you can have logo 1, logo 2, or logo 3. There. You just have to pick them out. Oops. Whoa. Anyway, all right. Enough said. Enough of that kind of thing. All right. So, that's not something that you guys need to see just yet. All right. Yeah, did I get an ID10T key error? No. Mine is PepCAC. Okay. Problem exists between keyboard and chair. There you go. All right. Well, apparently, Trump's immigration policy and his U.S. immigration policies are starting to take hold, and they're starting to impact a major funding for a certain, let's call it a certain southern country. Yes, that's right. Money, and this is in the Epic Times, but money being wired to Mexico from America has hit a decade low. A decade low. That means that, you know how the left kept saying, oh no, they all come back here. They all, all of these people, all of these illegal aliens, they come here to have a better life and so on and so forth. No, folks, they're not here for that. The ones that come here illegally, or the ones that come here just on visas and have absolutely no intention of becoming an American, all they're doing is they're just coming here to partake in the most prosperous country that has ever been known to grace this planet and send that money back home. They have no intention of becoming an American. And this is part of the problem, is that when you come here and you don't intend to join America as a immigrant, okay, then, yeah, it's just, I'm sorry, but the point of immigration, legal immigration here, is to bring people in who want to be Americans, who want to take part and join what is essentially, at least the way I learned it, the melting pot of the world. But in order to do that, you have to want to give up and give away, or walk away, I should say, from your other life, your other country. You need to come here willingly and give yourself, and your principles and values need to align and be here as an American. As an American. And that's what should happen. But no, these illegals, many of them from Mexico, will come here, they'll work here for a while, and then they'll send the money home in order to make their lives better there, rather than attempting to try and change there. They come here and they try to change here to turn it into there. If you want here to be like there, then why didn't you just stay there? I know it's a little bit of a kind of an interesting logic setup there, but that's just the way it goes. That's just the way it goes. But anyway, that's kind of an interesting thing. So there's also, by the way, a new 1% remittance tax that's going to go into effect in January of 2026 as well. So, yeah. But according to the numbers released this month by the Bank of Mexico, income from remittances abroad stood at $5.2 billion in June, which is a 16.2% decrease compared to just the year prior. That represents the largest drop in 13 years, according to a report from BBVA, which conducts economic research. Remittances in 2024 represented approximately 3.4% of Mexico's GDP, according to the World Bank, meaning that they have plenty of people who are running from Mexico and are sending remittances back home. Remittances, by the way, are the money earned in the United States that is transferred to individuals such as relatives, friends, or business associates abroad. 99% of the remittances sent in the first half of 2025 were made through electronic funds transfers, according to the BBVA. The drop occurred after a decade of growth. Between 2013 and 2024, remittances to Mexico almost tripled from $23 billion to $64.7 billion, according to the BBVA. So analysts are attributing this decline to President Trump's deportation policies and the availability of alternative ways to send remittances. Some have suggested that the U.S. dollar's weaker position against the Mexican peso has also played a part, which is possible. And, it could be all of the above. But the point is, yeah, they're not sending as much money home as what they used to, which is a good thing. Well, now we understand. There's a new study out that tells us why the Democrats are in such a freak out over this redistricting thing in Texas, even though it was ordered by the court, even though it was, as a part of a response to the fact that they lost out 2 seats in the census, but mainly because it was ordered by the court. Now we understand why. And here is the reason. You look here in Breitbart, study, Democrats are losing registration race in all 30 states that actually track party affiliation. It's a 4.5 million voter swing towards the GOP. Now, the thing about it is that this is the Democrats would assume that if they signed you up to vote, that's what all these non-governmental organizations, they go into an area and they sign everybody up to vote. And what they do is they target specific areas, assuming, of course, that most, if not all, of those people that they're signing up are going to be Democrat. Well, here's the problem. In the last 5-10 years, the shift has been going. You no longer can assume that a person of color is going to vote Democrat anymore. I mean, this is where the breakdown of the coalition that Obama once held has been utterly broken apart by Trump in 2024. See, Trump gained people in the person of color category, at least according to the Democrats, what they call people of color. I just call them Americans. If they're here and they're citizens, they're Americans. But the point here is that, yeah, there seems to be a huge swing in registrations in all of these places where they're tracking actual party affiliation. And the Democrat Party is literally hemorrhaging support. They're hemorrhaging support. So this report is part of the New York Times, which when the New York Times, by the way, when the New York Times raises a red flag, their internal polling is like going on alarm klaxon. We're about to hit the iceberg Titanic style in the Democrat Party. So this is voter registration data compiled by a nonpartisan data firm, L2. So this is relatively accurate, I'll say, or reliable, I should say. So the data suggests, by the way, that Democrat Party activists can no longer rely on the party's tried and true methods to reverse the trend, leaving the panicked party leaders and pundits now unsure of how to resurrect the party's electoral prospects. And when you take something like this, by the way, and you add that to the fact that Texas had to get redistricted according to the court findings, which, by the way, Hakeem Jeffries posted on X. He was like, oh, this redistricting, this is a violation of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. It's racist. It's racist. Except there's only one problem, Hakeem. If you look at the findings of U.S. versus Texas, they said their original redistricting was because of racism and violation of the Voting Rights Act. So this new redistricting is a response to the old redistricting that was taken to court by the Biden administration. Yeah. Anyway, oh. So what they say in this report, of the 30 states that track voter registration by political party, Democrats have lost ground to Republicans in every single one between 2020 and 2024. Gee, I wonder why. Anyway, and often by a lot, they say. The report reads that a 4-year swing toward the Republicans adds up to about 4.5 million voters, a deep political hole that could take years for the Democrats to climb out from. Now, you would think something like this report and the klaxon warning that's coming from the New York Times, because otherwise they would have ignored this if it wasn't, such a big deal. But the thing about it is you would think that the New York Times and the rest of the Democrat Party would realize that, hey, maybe our sharp left turn that we took in 2020, when Joe Biden was supposed to basically be a basement fixture, not change anything and not be divisive, And his changes caused 9.1% inflation and caused all kinds of problems and issues and everything. We're opening up the border. You know, again, that hard left turn that he, or at least his administration, because again, who knows if Joe Biden actually knew that he was president. That hard left turn that we took, yeah, that was a good thing. No, it's not. And, yeah. Well, you can see here, this is a graphic. Let me see if I can get zoomed in here on this graphic here. There is all of the states that had a change in voter registrations from 2020 to 2024. They are hemorrhaging voters. And it's not just in some locations. They're hemorrhaging them across the states. Across the states. I mean, Florida itself, holy crap, Florida lost a bunch. Let's see. Oklahoma lost a bunch, which that's nothing unusual. You know, even Oregon, some staunch left places lost a bunch. Look even at the Northeast. The Northeast lost some too. And I mean, you know, this kind of like, yeah, this really, really does it. And by the way, the report reads that no states, red, blue, or purple, are immune to the trend. Now, keep in mind, here on this program, I say there are no blue states, there are no red states, there are only purple states, especially those states that have large cities within them, because of the fact that the large cities are majority blue, but everything else in terms of the rest of America, the real America, the actual America, the rural areas, where we don't dive into communism or anything else there. Communism, socialism, Marxism, Leninism, any of that, Stalinism, you know, all of that stuff. That we don't do that in our rural places. And yeah, that's real America, let me tell you. That's not flyover country. That's real America. But anyway, so, yeah, more voters apparently, according to this, are choosing to be Republican. So this is a positive move for the Republican Party. Now, the question is the Republican Party going to be able to keep those people? And I'll be honest with you, these are not your staunch left Democrats that are leaving the Democrat Party. These are the middle of the road moderates. These are the moderates who might become, independents if they can't find a party that can represent them. So as long as the Republicans don't do the exact same thing as the Democrats and make a hard right turn instead, as long as they can stay somewhat moderate, we may be in a situation where the voting is flipped. Okay. So let's talk really quick about this redistricting. So Gavin Newsom over in California has passed one hurdle of the two, actually, where the California Supreme Court has given him the go-ahead to place the redistricting change on the ballot. They did it in sort of a weird way, too. So there's a California state law that basically says that you can't, let me see if I can rephrase this correctly. You can't place something on the ballot that was only created or thought of 30 days prior to the deadline of when to get it placed on the ballot. And so what's going on here is he went to the California State Supreme Court and said, hey, can I sidestep this law and can I get this put on the ballot? Here's how Newsom is planning on doing it. There's a little known loophole in the law that basically says that you can't put a brand new ballot together, but you can gut an old one. You can gut and rewrite another law that is already on the books, getting ready to be put forth in front of the voters. So Californians, if you're within the sound of my voice, or if you happen to listen to my program, I'm just going to tell you right now, read all of your propositions, because they may try. There may be some old advertisements for something. There's an old advertisement for proposition or whatever that's running around telling you, hey, prop number whatever is for X, and you think that X looks and sounds wonderful, and then you come down to voting day, and what actually happens is proposition whatever number is now actually Y, which is voting for the redistricting in California. Folks, you got to be careful with these people. I'm telling you, these people in California, they're going to do whatever they can to get rid of this whole thing and try to redistrict. So, yeah, just saying. You got to be mindful, got to be watchful. These people are going to do it. Well, the other thing that Gavin Newsom doesn't seem to quite understand is, while he may be able to get 5 seats away from the Republicans to offset the 5 seats that were added in Texas, he seems to have forgotten that there are plenty of other red states that can join this redistricting war. One of them being Missouri. So Missouri has decided to enter the chat. According to this article in Red State, after Texas drew the congressional maps that are still less gerrymandered than those of California, Illinois, and elsewhere, Democrats had a chance to, de-escalate. It's okay, all right, you did what you did, and to actually accept that they don't get to live by their own set of rules. Republicans would have gained a few pickup opportunities in 2026, but the landscape wouldn't have changed that much, according to this piece. Newsom, unfortunately, though, wants to run for president. I mean, he's making it very clear that he wants to run for president. And that means that he's got to get his face nationally, because most people don't know him out of California. This is part of the problem with, say, Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis had a bit of that same issue when he ran for president, as does any governor, realistically, that wants to run for president. But he went ahead and touched off this whole thing. And by the way, he's spending, at least his press office is spending his days writing things in all caps on all kinds of social media postings in order to try and garner some attention outside of California. But unfortunately, here's the problem. The great state of Missouri is now moving to redistrict. And apparently there's several other red states that are looking to join the party. So a special session to make a 7-1 map in favor of Republicans seems imminent. Yeah. And by the way, if those other red states join in, yeah, the Democrats are going to have a hell of a time trying to recover, because they've already gerrymandered a crap ton of their states. They've already done a crap ton of their states. And so, yeah. Now, many people think, oh, okay, well, that's just one seat, Texas added 5. California wanted to match that, but really its new map is probably looking more like 4. Missouri joins the fight. The Republicans are going to finish ahead. But Illinois, and people are talking about Illinois. Oh, yeah, it's Illinois. Well, Illinois is already gerrymandered to the max. They did it after the 2020 census. So they're gonna have to like figure out what the hell's going on there. New York has legal hurdles, which this is generally the same as California's. That's why we're wondering if it's actually even going to make it. Newsom still has to get around his own state laws regarding the redistricting and everything, so he has to get the voters to agree to it. So that's why I'm saying, if you're in California, watch these propositions very carefully. Anything that is on the ballot in November, you've got to watch very carefully and vote no for this redistricting. But Florida could redistrict. And then let's see what else. There's a couple others, I guess. They don't say it in this piece, but there's a few others that could redistrict as well. And if that's the case, then California's redistricting is really going to be not that great. So anyway, let's see. Before I get on to my next topic, let me go ahead and let's do this. I wake up every morning and I drink coffee. I drink it out of my 16-ounce cup that says, "Father like no other, given to me by my wonderful children, young Mr. Whiskey and young Miss Whiskey." But I fill it with coffee. Now, I'm a coffee drinker. I'm not much of a coffee connoisseur per se, but I am a coffee drinker. I love my coffee. I got to have it every morning. And I got to tell you, if you haven't tried 1775 coffee yet, this is your shot. The starter kit, their 1775 starter kit, has just dropped. There are a limited number of units available. In each unit, you'll be getting the bold dark roast that hits hard. You'll also be getting the smooth medium roast, and you'll also get a taste of the Vitality Mushroom Coffee, which offers you clean energy and laser focus with no crash. All of these coffees are single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also going to get, as a part of this kit, my favorite, the gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. You'll also be getting a frother, and that is strong enough to stir up not only your coffee, but also your mother-in-law's opinions on all kinds of things, politics included. You'll also receive a black 1775 tumbler. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear, and it's all yours for the low, low price of just $99. This is for the ones that have been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble and wondering if it's actually worth it. Let me tell you, spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775 coffee. Those are the numbers, 1775, and then the word coffee.com /studio. And for those of you that don't know, the / is your question mark key. 1775coffee.com /studio, STUDIO, and grab your starter kit. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee.com /studio. That's 1775coffee.com /studio, and grab your starter kit today. All right. So Hillary Clinton, most of these people don't seem to get it. They need to just go away. I don't know how many times these people have tried and failed. The more that they push, the more their own sins start getting aired out in the public eye. And now Hillary Clinton, who, by the way, is still a licensed lawyer, she's not practicing, but she is licensed. She's now been slapped with an ethics complaint targeting that law license over her role in the Russiagate scandal. So the complaint was filed shortly after the newly declassified document shed more light on her involvement in the Russia collusion narrative. So now she's going to have to defend that. She's now facing an ethics complaint from a government watchdog group calling on the Arkansas State Bar to probe whether Clinton's involvement into the Russia investigation into President Trump should affect her ability to practice law in Arkansas. The complaint was filed by Democracy Restored this week, and it cites the Arkansas rules of professional conduct involving dishonesty and prejudice to the administration of justice, and seeks a formal review of the conduct of Hillary Rodham Clinton Esquire, a licensed attorney in the state of Arkansas, in connection with her actions during the 2016 presidential campaign. Yeah, it's time for these people to actually feel the exact same pain, and even more so than what they gave Donald Trump. So she's up. She's gonna go up against the ethics complaint. Yeah, they should also put ethics in terms of her breaking of the rules when she created that private email server and sent classified documents over that. I would say that's dishonesty, and prejudice to the administration of justice. So, yeah. Anyway, you'll also remember, too, and this is what a lot of people don't remember, is that Hillary was kicked off the Watergate team, the Watergate legal team, because she was caught doing some nefarious things by the lead attorney. She was just a legal aid, I think, or second attorney or something like that, paralegal, whatever. She was just a helper. And she ended up getting kicked off that team way back in the day. So, yeah, what a mess. She is. She deserves this. Well, let's get on to Donald Trump's court victories. He received a huge court victory today. Do you remember that 400 and whatever, 54, 484, whatever it was, court thing that Letitia James brought to him for fraud and did the civil penalty of $5 million plus that was, racking up in interest and everything because he wasn't paying it, because he was on appeals and so on and so forth. You remember that? You remember that whole thing that Letitia James made up, saying that, oh, yeah, he overvalued his properties. And so, he defrauded the taxpayers of New York because he overvalued the properties. Yeah, and likely broke the law or whatever it was. Yeah, well, the appeals court decided to, they tossed it. They tossed the exorbitant fine that was put up. Now, Letitia James went and said, hey, she jumped on X, and she's like, or her office did anyway. And she jumped on X, and she's like, oh, you know what? This is great because the appeals court, what they did is they just affirmed that he did break the law. Well, there's only one problem there, Letitia. They basically said, yeah, we're overturning the penalty because, and by the way, we're not actually ruling on the merits of the case whatsoever. We're just basically saying that the penalty that you guys gave was a little over the top and violated the 8th Amendment. So they put it to 0. They said, yeah, no, that's gone. So they didn't even bother, the appeals court, okay, didn't even bother with whether or not the case was real or not, because, see, this is the thing, is that you get a judgment like that, and you get the appeals court that basically says, yeah, that was an excessive judgment, so it's out. I mean, none of the rest of it really matters, to be honest with you. But they literally stated in their opinion that, yeah, we're not gonna judge this on the merits of the case. This is just very excessive and was essentially a violation of Mr. Trump's and everybody else's 8th Amendment rights. So, yeah. So there you go. It's gone. And, of course, she is facing, by the way, she's facing her own legal issues. So, yeah. But anyway, and keep in mind, too, that particular case, there was literally 0 victims in the crimes. All the loans got paid back. The banks even said on the stand under oath, yeah, we'd love to do business with him again. We got plenty of money. We got money off of him. So, yeah. The appeals court basically found the penalty. And by the way, it was a unanimous decision. The appeals court, or the appeals panel found the penalty against Trump unconstitutional, a violation of the 8th Amendment, and dismissed it in its entirety. One panelist actually even took aim at James specifically, saying that the Attorney General was seeking the derailment of Trump's political career and the destruction of his real estate business. Because if you recall, that was what James ran on. She said, if you put me in the office of AG, I will go after Donald Trump. So that's it. That's it. Yeah, she also solicited donations by vowing to take on Donald Trump, promising to sue Trump over and over and over again. Yeah. She made racial comments about Trump. Yeah. Well, now things are starting to come back to roost for her. But that wasn't the only legal victory. The Trump administration got another legal victory from an appeals court. This one was that the Trump administration can terminate temporary protected status for more than 60,000 migrants. Now, I know I talked about the Venezuelan temporary protected status. This one extends to other countries because it was a different court that was getting this one. And what's even better is the fact that this was the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which usually is leftist. This one was a unanimous decision as well. So, they halted a lower court order that had blocked the Trump administration from eliminating temporary deportation protections and revoking work permits for migrants. So these are migrants from Honduras, Nicaragua, and Nepal. So there you go. Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh. They didn't explain their decision much either, by the way. They just basically said, yeah, the government's motion to stay a pending appeal, it's granted. That's another win. Well, guess what? We're not done yet. We got one more. The Supreme Court has also ruled now that the Trump admin can revoke any DEI-related NIH, National Institutes of Health grants. Yep. The Supreme Court voted 5-4 today to allow the NIH to cancel hundreds of millions of dollars in research grants linked to DEI initiatives. The justices filed 5 separate opinions explaining these votes. So what happened is the Department of Justice filed an emergency application with the nation's highest court late last month asking the justices to block a ruling by a Boston-based U.S. District Judge, William Young, who found that the cancellation was supposedly unlawful and ordered the government to restore the funding. Well, the emergency application stemmed from 2 lawsuits challenging the cuts to the grant involving DEI, which was transgender issues and vaccine hesitancy, among other issues. Well, yep, that's gone. So the Supreme Court Now, this is interesting that it's a 5-4. I would hazard a guess that somebody like Amy Coney Barrett or whatever, you know, I don't know the exact breakdown, but I would guess that Amy Coney Barrett or possibly Chief Justice Roberts or somebody like that sided with the three moron activists of Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson. But anyway, so there you go. You know, for as many times as these Democrats have frickin' lost, you would think that eventually they would be like, you know what, this really isn't worth it, and just go home. You know, that this really isn't worth it, and try to realize that, hey, maybe this is not the fight that we necessarily need, and to just back up, go to their cave, sit quietly for 3+ years, wait for the next one, you know, kind of situation. Instead, they keep doubling down and they end up getting freaking slapped almost every single time. Case in point, Boston leftist mayor, Michelle Wu. Well, she arguably said, you know what, we're not going to listen to the federal government when it comes to immigration, and we're just going to continue on our city's sanctuary policy. Yeah, well, acting ICE director Todd Lyons fired back yesterday saying that the agency is going to flood the zone. So ICE is going to flood Boston because Michelle Wu has decided to act against Attorney General Pam Bondi's order to dismantle the city's sanctuary policy. So, yeah, earlier this month, Bondi had sent a letter to Wu that stated, for too long, so-called sanctuary jurisdiction policies have undermined the necessary cooperation and obstruction of federal immigration enforcement, giving aliens cover to perpetrate crimes in our communities and evade the immigration consequences that federal law requires. Now, again, keep in mind, constitutionally, this is an active constitutional job of the federal government. Immigration is 100% on the federal government as a job that they are supposed to do. And so for these cities and states to sit there and say, yeah, we're not going to support you on this, they are breaking constitutional law that the state and the city agreed to, the state in particular, when they joined the union, that the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. And so, anyway, she basically, to get back to it, Bondi said, you are hereby notified that your jurisdiction has been identified as one that engages in sanctuary policies and practices that thwart federal immigration enforcement to the detriment of the interests of the United States. This ends now. On Monday, Bondi told Fox News of her directive to the sanctuary cities. She said, if they don't comply with us, we're going to work with other agencies to cut off their federal funding. We're going to send in law enforcement, just like we did during the LA riots and like we're doing here in Washington, D.C. And if they're not going to keep their citizens safe, Donald Trump will keep them safe. So, yeah. Wu held a press conference on Tuesday where she arrogantly responded. The U.S. Attorney General has asked for a response today, so here it is. Stop attacking our cities to hide your administration's failures. Unlike the Trump administration, Boston follows the law, and Boston will not back down from who we are or who we stand or what we stand for. We will not back away from our community that has made us the safest city in the country. Except there's only one problem, sweetheart. You're not following the law. Boston, by being a sanctuary city, you're not following the law. So, yeah. Really quickly before we take off and before I go jump into another another article. There was a question Amy posted in the chat, or a statement. So Amy says, I want to see someone sue California and Newsom over the 3 deaths from that trucker. And if you recall, when I was talking yesterday, when we were talking about this, there is legal precedent to go after the governor for policies that would cause the deaths of people. It happened to the governor of Illinois back when he was selling CDLs, basically on, allowing CDL licenses to get sold. And he did get torn up. So the reality of it is that yes, he very well could. If somebody had the balls to basically bring it, he very well could. He could be in trouble. I don't think he realizes that he could be in trouble because, again, he was the lieutenant governor back when this particular guy got his license, but I'm sure the practice has continued. So I would imagine that, the federal government, which, by the way, the federal government, another constitutional item is the federal government is able to regulate interstate commerce, and trucking is one of those interstate commerce ideas or items. And so it actually wouldn't surprise me any if the federal Department of Justice decided to sue the state of California for not enforcing the law regarding English proficiency tests and also not enforcing, CDL practices. So my guess is that if anybody's going to do it, I'm going to tell you it's going to be Donald Trump's administration. They would go after him, and honestly, I think they should. I personally think they should, because these people are a danger on the road. And there, again, like I said, there's legal precedent to do so. So to me, there's no reason why you couldn't do it. And even the deaths of those people, they could sue in civil court about it. Now, whether or not they would actually be able to be, in a civil court, would actually be able to be triumphant, I don't know. But it would certainly be interesting to try, because the trucking industry in particular, does not have the same kind of protections that, say, and the state, by the way, because the state has to regulate that licensing. I don't think that they would necessarily have the same protections that, say, the gun manufacturers do, because the licenses are essentially saying that, hey, we have given this guy permission to drive on the road. So, yeah. I would say that it's probably a interesting factor, and I would think that it would be, very likely that it would occur. I'd like to see it occur, honestly. I would love to see that occur. Let's see. Yep, I've already talked about that. Yeah, I don't know if this is really going to go anywhere, so. Anyway, all right, I think that's it for me this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. Once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up and follow, click that green follow button, the the American Perspective channel, and click that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up and thumbs down if you have any desire to do so across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, and of course the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening heading into, well, I guess it would be Freaky Friday or something like that. I don't know. You guys come up with it. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow night right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.